Okay, good morning, guys. It's May hold on, I'll tell you what day it is. Like May the 29th, maybe? I think it's May the 29th. So, May 29th, 12 months to a million. No, I did not print out that calendar. I might just write on a piece of paper, like several pieces of paper, 300 pieces of paper. But, I could do like draw the lines through. I could do that. I just thought each individual piece of paper would be a little more dramatic. But anyway, so 358 days, I think, to a million. So we're working on it. I did sell roundabout somewhere from 16 to 20 pounds of coffee yesterday. So that's a start. Now I have sold more coffee in my lifetime on some different days. I have sold less coffee in my lifetime on some different days, but today is the day that matters. So we're going to shout out ourselves for selling that coffee. And we're going to continue our plan to move forward. I didn't cook today, but let me tell y'all, yesterday I made spaghetti with, and I might have said this on the previous video, but spaghetti with beef ribs, boneless beef ribs. Delicious, guys. Delicious. So if you don't believe me, you can ask LaRon and Shalette, because she tried it as well. I hope she's having a delicious lunch today. So so let me just tell y'all why I started Queen Coffee Bean. I've done some interviews, some videos, some magazine articles, newspaper articles. I've talked to several people, but I've never been on my own platform saying my own things about my own self. So and I kind of slowed down, responded to interview requests because I like to own my content. So it's fine to share the content with other people. Somebody write an article and that's their interpretation of what you said. And so y'all share it, but I want it my own stuff. Somebody got to ask me, can they use it? Now, will they ask me? I don't know. They might just use it anyway. But why I started Queen Coffee Bean? So, y'all know, several people may know, I've had tax offices before. And I've been studying accounting since high school, and my dad became an entrepreneur when I was a teenager. So I thought when I got older, one of the things I saw several entrepreneurs doing was not understanding what to do with the money that they made. So I said, I'll start my own tax business. I'll study economics. I'll study accounting, and I'll learn what a dollar looks like, how to make it grow, and, the science of money, pretty much. So I did that. So pretty much in response to something I saw that was a social issue. Coffee, the same thing. How can we use coffee to address mass incarceration and what happens as a result of mass incarceration? And then how can we prevent or slow down or just stop mass incarceration altogether? So coffee allows us to do that, but you got to follow the cycle of it, because sometimes people make a problem. They instead of eating that elephant one bite at a time, they want to eat the whole elephant, put a little ketchup on it, and then become overwhelmed when they get a stomachache. Okay, you're gonna start throwing up and everything. So, and then sometimes people don't want to share their elephant, but we're gonna delegate the eating of this elephant. But if you think about it, right? If you think about coffee. So I went to work at Starbucks back in 2018, and I grew to understand that coffee was first discovered in Ethiopia. And I would love to get to know more about the history of that. Like, what was the time like? What was the culture like? I want to dive a lot deeper into that. So I actually want to go to Ethiopia and talk to people there and just understand the history and, that kind of thing, because we can say coffee was discovered in Ethiopia, but what caused this discovery? Okay, they say a goat herder had his goats. Hold on, y'all, I got to plug in my square. Hold on. But they say a goat herder is to notice his goats was eating off of a tree. He was eating the berries off a tree, and they always got more energetic. So then a goat herder tried it, that kind of thing. But I want to study what was going on in the world at that time. I mean, I've seen animals eat a lot of things. I saw goats eating grass. I never thought to myself, let me try that grass. I guess if the goat looked like he was having low cortisol and a relaxing life, I might then you start eating that grass. But that's not, I've never seen that, so not doing that. But I want to understand that. But if you think about, so then coffee started spreading around the world because it was smuggled out of Ethiopia or whatever countries they smuggled it out of, and then they started smuggling the people to teach them how to cultivate the coffee. So there's that. But coffee gives you, like it gave me a sense of, maybe my history, or there's a culture that I don't understand about people and about my people and people that have dark brown skin, that's been, that they maybe intentionally or unintentionally has been not shared. Right. So, because I thought until I got to Starbucks that most coffee came from Central and South America, Colombian coffee beans, they're the best. And so just studying that piece of history gave me a little bit more pride about what I was doing. So if you think about, a lot of times we start with what are the expectations people have for us and the expectations we have for ourselves. So if we teach children in elementary school that coffee was first discovered in Ethiopia, and you let them study the history of Ethiopia and what Ethiopia is like, what the culture was like, because as a child, I always saw the commercials with the kids with the distended stomachs because they were supposed to be starving. And I thought that was what Ethiopia was, but that is not what Ethiopia is. And to know that something that is like a multi-billion-dollar industry around the world was first started in a country that it used to be that the commercials always showed us how poor that country was. There seems to be an education we can and a conversation we can have around that. But just imagine teaching elementary school kids about coffee and coffee time and how to roast their own beans as they do in Ethiopian families where they, roast their own coffee beans and spend time with their family. So just imagine a kid learning that and understanding that Starbucks is not an unattainable dream. It's another place. Like we're here in High Point. So when people in High Point see a grand, large furniture store or great furniture around the world, they feel a sense of pride. Oh, we know that probably came from us. And even if it didn't, we made the thing that came before that grand chair or throne or whatever, right? So same way with coffee, you teaching the kids. And so now it's not something that's unattainable, but it is actually an education and a sense of pride. Also, at the same time, you can include teachings about tea. Why was tea important? Why was tea important to culture? Why are coffee and tea important to cultures? What does coffee and tea have to do with the fact that when some countries were getting sick from illness because of sanitation issues, then countries or communities that were centered around coffee and tea, they didn't get sick, and it's because they boiled their water. But one of the reasons because they boiled their water. So just small facts that as kids grow up learning, they grow up learning a sense of pride about themselves. And then if you think about it, if you think about teaching, while you teach about the Industrial Revolution, prior to the Industrial Revolution, there was entrepreneurship because a lot of people worked for themselves. They just didn't call it entrepreneurship. And then there were apprenticeships and people trained to be the thing that they were. And that's all entrepreneurship is. And so they learned that. And so we teach kids about working in a factory, working in assembly lines, or being doctors or lawyers. which also can be a form of entrepreneurship. Doctors and lawyers sometimes work for themselves. They have their own practices and that kind of thing. So to teach them that, and then entrepreneurship isn't a new concept when they become an adult. And then in high school, if you teach them different trades to prepare them for life. So you teach them to go into an industry related to coffee, whether it's logistics, whether it's drink development, menu development, farming, developing relationships with farms. So the economics of coffee, what does the whole economic cycle of coffee look like? And how can that be shared with someone in high school who wants to figure out what they want to do and may or may not want to go to college? And you can have like a coffee college if you like, So after you finish high school, or even while you're in high school, you can learn these advanced skills and have this information in case that's what you want to do, and not kind of fumble around in the dark or not acquire hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. So all of that leads me to, if you're properly occupied and properly educated, then the chances of being incarcerated drastically drop. But if you're one of the people who have been affected by being incarcerated yourself, you have another way to think of things. A lot of coffee shops will hire you, especially independently owned, but Starbucks will actually hire you. If you've been incarcerated before, there are questions that they ask. They may ask you, can they do a background check, and you say yes, and then when they see whatever they see may not affect them hiring, may not keep them from hiring you. So that's one thing. So at Starbucks, what I learned from being there is you also get what you used to back in 2018 got bean stocks. So stock in a company, you had insurance benefits, vision, health, dental, if you work 20 hours a week. So you could easily work 20 hours a week, have full benefits, and be home to take care of your personal life, but still have insurance coverage. You could do whatever else it is that you wanted to do. So that was a great thing that I learned. So if I could train people to go to work somewhere like a Starbucks, I don't listen. And this don't have nothing to do with any kind of political issues. I don't know what Starbucks political views are. I don't know anything about what they think about anything. I don't read a lot of news or listen to a lot of news because it is not always transparent, accurate. It's skewed to what they want you to think. And I find sometimes as a Black woman at a certain age, then sometimes the algorithms tells them that I want to see certain things, and so I don't trust all the time what they're telling me. I just feel like it's meant to evoke emotions, certain emotions. And I don't want to live in that space where someone is controlling my emotions. I have hard enough time myself controlling my emotions. Those things are all over the place. So, but if you think about it, though, a place like a Starbucks that offers you benefits, but for just working 20 hours a week, that was not a common practice. So I don't know who else does that, but that's a great practice. So you may have a mom who drops her children off at school in the morning because she's able to do that. And then after she drops the kids off, she can go to work at Starbucks, and she work her 4 hours for 5 days. And when she gets off, she picks the kids up, and she got full benefits. I mean, the income might not be the best, but she got full benefits. Hold on, y'all. I think I hear somebody coming. Hold on. I think it's Alex. I didn't make his coffee yet.
I'm sorry, Claudia.
You here? That's you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm sorry about yesterday. I forgot to. I had to take the day off unexpectedly.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just texted me.
I just out it now. I just did my normal routine.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. And these might be flavored beans. Is that okay? I roasted a bunch of beans yesterday for somebody in particular. He wanted caramel pecan. No, cinnamon pecan. And so I roasted those and then tasted them. So I don't remember if I took them out of the grinder or not.
How much did you roast?
15 pounds.
How long does it take?
Huh?
How long does it take?
About anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes a pound. Now, for me, other people with bigger roasters, it might take, I don't know, an hour maybe. But I roast in small batches and I'm fine with that. Easier to control what it tastes like. And I kind of forgot yesterday until I walked over here and saw the cup still sitting over here. I said, oh my gosh, I didn't see Alex today.
Yeah, I meant to text you, but then I just woke up at 1 and had to hit the ground.
Oh.
Sidetracked. It's so bad, but right now we're just doing test reviews for the instead of eye tests.
Uh-huh.
And so you see the practice now, so I've got all the data, so I don't know how to do it. It's not even a grade, I'm grading on participation and effort at this point.
Oh, really?
What is I want them to get better at whatever they're weak for for the exam. So I'm just like, do something to be your best guys. If you do something wrong, look back at it and try to figure it out. Here's the answer. You have all the information. I'm still here to help. I'm just like trying to make them become and like the answer keys are out. I'm like, guys, I'm giving everyone, 5 points for this. Why are we cheating? So the kids that I've caught cheating, I'm not gonna give the 5 out of 5 to them. I'm just like, guys, this is all I ask.
And it was just participation, right?
Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Huh.
Whatever.
Have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Okay, y'all, that was Alex. That was my first ever regular. He was intentional about being a regular. So anyway, he wasn't here yesterday to get his coffee. So, anyway. And that didn't take long at all. He already knew what he wanted. But yeah, if you think about a mom dropping her kids off at school, she has full benefits. So her and her kids want to go to the dentist. She can take them. She want to take them to the doctor. She can take them. And she's got the whole day to do it. And she works those 4 hours. And when she gets off work, she's off in time enough to run some errands and pick her children up from school. So if you ask me, that is great. So if I could train someone to be able to go straight into that job, then that is what I want to do. So Queen Coffee Bean is here to offer training for those type jobs. And then if you want to get into the entrepreneurial aspect, but also, guys, listen. So the same skills that it takes to roast coffee beans, to purchase coffee beans, roast those coffee beans, and build a great distribution network is some of your family and friends are really great at it, and that is why they have been incarcerated. They were selling the wrong product. So if I could show those folks how to do that differently, then just imagine if Freeway Rick Ross had flooded the West Coast with coffee instead of Ready Rock, or crack as they call it. Just imagine. We don't know if we would have known his story. We don't know what his story would have been. We probably would have known his story. But just think about it. Just think about if, everybody from BMF had flooded the streets of Detroit and everywhere else, Atlanta, up and down the East Coast, wherever, with coffee. Now, I'm not saying it's as easy as, I know it's easier said than done, but if you just think about it as a possible solution instead of welfare or like welfare programs, like we'll give you money, like it'll give you a certain amount of money. You got to report this, report that. You got to, how welfare systems work. Well, maybe you don't, but there's a lot of reporting. There's a lot of people being in your business. And I think we should all still have our personal freedoms and our privacy while we exist in life. So whatever keeps us from having to be dependent on a system is great to me. So, and then sometimes the jobs that are waiting for you, people tell you about factory jobs, and some people have never worked a job in their lives. If some formerly incarcerated people, they've never worked a job. So they don't They don't have any of those skills. So to go to work at a warehouse with no air conditioning, doing some strenuous work, and I mean, you think about some people coming home from prison, they might have left at 30 and came home at 50, and a 30-year-old body and a 50-year-old body is two different things. And then you lifting heavy boxes, and you know, and you got to work on your attitude. So just think about it. So briefly, because we at the 20-minute mark, just briefly, I'll continue this line of logic with the videos, and y'all just like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you see this video. And thank you always for being so supportive. Come to Queen Coffee Bean at 1200 East Chester Drive in High Point, North Carolina. We're in Suite 202 upstairs in the blue building beside of Brewster's Ice Cream and G&H Furniture. I think it's GH or G&H Furniture. And visit us at queencoffeebean.com, and just keep up with, place an order, but also keep up with what we got going on. Order drinks, order beans, order a lot of beans, order a whole lot of beans, and just continue. Thank you for continuing to support us. Thank you so much. All right, bye.